I really wanted to like The Last Goodbye. It's really ambitious, it's an impressive shooter, it's a technical achievement for modding. Honestly, on those merits, I could say the developers did a great job. I like the premise of it, I like what it's trying to accomplish, just the core problem is that as a game, it's a massive mixed bag. It's not fun to play, and honestly, I was left feeling disappointed by the time it ended. I highly respect what the developers are going for, and I think in time it could be a great mod. It's just Act 1 had a lot more faults than it did positives. I can respect what they were trying to achieve, it's just the execution left a lot to be desired.
Go to hell and don't come back! You move nine up for a bouncer gig and now
So The Last Goodbye is a mod for the first Half-Life, though you probably wouldn't believe it if you took a first glance at it. It feels like an entirely different game, it looks like an entirely different game, and aside from a few sounds that are recycled from Half-Life, it basically could be mistaken for an indie title. Kind of like Time Warp in that way. It's very ambitious, very interesting, set in a retro-futuristic sort of city with a noir vibe to it. It's in black and white. You're playing as a woman known as the Banshee, a mercenary, a gun for hire. She's been recruited to take down a notorious hitman known as Bullseye. And to get to him, she's going to go for his second-in-command to get his location. And that means fighting through the gangs and the dingy alleys and the slums and the industrial district of the city she's in.
The problem isn't that crime doesn't pay. The problem is that it doesn't pay enough for my wife.
It's a noir mystery thriller with action, combat, interesting mystery, and some pretty cool world building. I'm saying a lot of good things about it, and honestly, at first glance, it is really impressive. It starts out kind of dark and dingy, but once you get your hands on a gun, you get to experience some combat, and it's pretty nice. But after that, things start coming apart at the seams. I'd say the biggest issue are the visuals. It combines too many ideas that, while good individually, don't work well together. So it's sort of a low-poly game design, which is kind of expected for Goldsrc. It's also black and white, and it's also dark. Combine all three of these things, and it's very confusing to navigate levels. Especially because there isn't really a clear direction on where to go. There's no compass, no objective marker, no map. The level design isn't very clear either. You can get lost wandering around the city since a lot of areas look the same. It's just kind of these trashy, dark, dingy areas. And getting from one point to the next is much easier said than done. You can find yourself wandering around confused. Saving the game manually can also sometimes lock you in place after you've completed a section, meaning that you'll need to reload your save and try to continue again. There's also at least one crash to desktop I experienced. I'm not sure what the cause was. It was during a level transition from what I could tell, along with a couple of awkwardly placed checkpoints where I kept dying shortly after starting them again.
Can this night get any worse? Just my order.
The combat is surprisingly unforgiving. The game puts you on easy difficulty by default. The descriptions of the difficulties make it sound like your traditional FPS challenges. But this is hard. This is a very challenging and unforgiving mod. There isn't a lot of health to go around. You lose health very easily. Enemies, at least with melee weapons, can take you down in a hit or two. And the enemies with stronger guns can be pretty deadly when it comes to jumping around corners and taking you out from vantage points. For the most part, ranged combat is fair, but the melee-based enemies will easily one-shot you. This goes for the guys with pipes and the dogs, and it can also mean that since there isn't a lot of health to go around, you will have to fight very dirty and take advantage of enemy blind spots or areas they can't hit you at. I once had to clear out like half a dozen enemies by hiding in a fountain and baiting enemies toward it so I could hit them from beyond their range of attack. That just took me out of the experience. It made it feel a lot less polished, a lot less fluid. Gun combat's good. There are only a handful of weapons in the demo, but they work well, they look nice, they have unique features. The pistol can be silenced for sneak attacks in exchange for less damage. Your punches can be charged up, whether it's a left hook or a right hook, to deal more damage. The submachine gun has a scope with an infrared light, or I guess a blue light on it. And the shotgun can either be fired pump action or semi-auto, along with a stick of dynamite that can be thrown around. They go a long way for changing up how you're going to approach combat, especially because there are times you can stealth around areas. With charged attacks to the back to unaware enemies, you can take them down in one hit.
Hell, they put them in stuff these days.
And when that happens, it's a fun gameplay loop. It allows you to feel immersed, to tackle situations depending on how you feel. When that happens, the last goodbye's at strongest, and it definitely captures those at least on a few occasions. There are some puzzles to solve, areas to explore. It's frustrating. I really want to like this mod. I want to recommend it. I want to give it a glowing review like Time Warp, like the Burton equation. The core problem is that it just isn't fun. It's challenging in ways that it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be so strange to navigate around levels. It shouldn't be so tiresome to deal with combat where you're getting one-shotted and you have to keep restarting the same point because some enemy just did a 360 no-scope with the shotgun. And the NPCs can be a little tough to work with as well. There was one part where I had to navigate a worker to a gate he had to open, but there were several points where he would just say he couldn't go any further, and I thought that was the game telling me that I couldn't navigate past a certain point, but it was just his pathfinding breaking, and it didn't help me at all with trying to figure out the direction I was supposed to go in. The story also just kind of ends abruptly. There isn't some climactic showdown or anything. You almost catch up with the guy you're hunting, but then he closes a gate and blocks you off from reaching him, and that's about it. The main mystery of the story doesn't really go anywhere. There are hints of strange things going on, of a dreamer cult, of strange supernatural phenomenon happening that imply something is off about this world, that it isn't exactly as it seems. It already seems a little under the weather. The city's already a bit surreal. There's talk of a space program and other stuff of that sort, despite it looking like the 20s or 30s. So, I'm intrigued about where that's going, but there isn't a lot of depth given to it. There are radios and books and stuff you can read and listen to learn more, and to get a better understanding of the gang you're fighting and the other aspects of the world you're in. They add some nice details, but again, the core problem is the game itself. The atmosphere is great, the music's great, voice acting is fantastic. They really picked some good actors and actresses for this one. I'm not sure if they're professional or up and coming or what, but they really sell the characters well, especially the narration for the Banshee. Whoever she is, hats off to her for a great performance.
Here's the deal. Nobody in the cathedral can call for help. That means you should be able to keep up your act with the rest of Jaeger's men. Provided the big guy doesn't actually use his brain to connect the dots about where you were in the catacombs. 1 in a million chance of that, I'd say.
Oh, I get it. You know, it's weird. You think I'm starting to get used to being an inside man. Not sure if that's a good thing.
Life makes spies of us all.
Cutscenes are unique. They're done in like retro TV style. It looks like they might be using Second Life or something to pose them. If so, that's a really creative way to handle the cutscenes. The overall presentation is great. If I was just rating this mod on a technical basis, I would give it glowing marks, but I'm not. At the end of the day, it's still a game. It's not a movie, it's not a visual novel, and the parts where you play it are the worst parts of it. However, I think it's still fixable. I'd say, for the visuals, pick one thing to get rid of. Low poly makes it difficult to discern environments, coupled with the dim lighting and black and white setting. Drop one of those and it should be easier to navigate through levels. The easiest would probably be just to make levels brighter. The combat's way too unforgiving, so I'd say make melee enemies not as powerful, or add more health kits, or figure out some other way to balance it so that you aren't just getting beaten down so effortlessly. Another point that I hadn't touched on, but is still important, is that the sounds aren't all that pleasant to listen to, which might sound weird, but in Half-Life it's really satisfying to break crates and to find stuff inside them. You can still find ammo and health and such inside different crates in The Last Goodbye, but they have these really scrunchy, uncomfortable sounds, and it almost discourages you from breaking them down.
Don't let my shoe off. Come on.
Replacing that sound for smashing the crates would probably go a long way for encouraging players to open up the barrels and other things that contain useful items. Details like that go a long way for making the game part of the game actually fun. As right now it has good potential. I like the premise of it. I think there is a good game waiting to be made underneath of all that. It just needs refinement, and that's why I wanted to do a video on it, because even if I have my faults with it, I think it can be really good. It shows a ton of promise, and I think the problems it has are absolutely fixable. I hope that aspects of it will be refined.
We have to seriously consider that we might be dealing with the Banshee. Now, if that's the case, then there's a real chance the South boys have been butchered like a bunch of cows.
I can't recommend The Last Goodbye in its current state, but I hope I'll be able to in the future. As it stands, I can commend the developers for going out of their way to make this feel like a total conversion. It's truly ambitious, especially for a Goldsrc mod, and I think it could be something spectacular. I want to be able to recommend it in the future. And if nothing else, I want to say that they put a lot of hard work into Act 1, and I'm curious to see what will happen with the 357 and the Molotov in the files, because those look cool as well. Good luck to developers for creating it. I hope that work on it continues to go well. I hope this doesn't discourage them, because I'm just trying to offer feedback. I don't like ripping into mods. I can tell they put a lot of hard work into this, but I just didn't enjoy it. It's just fortunate that I think the problems with it are fixable, and I hope they are addressed, because I think this will be a fantastic mod when it's finished.
There she is! Take it away, boys!
Thank you all for watching, and best of luck to the creators of The Last Goodbye for continuing development. And congrats for being featured on ModDB. It takes a lot of effort. I think, if nothing else, on a technical basis, you guys deserve it. Take care.